The thin line between civilization and total chaos is often held together by something as simple as a hot meal and a clear chain of command. But on the modern battlefield, that line is reportedly disintegrating. Disturbing accounts are emerging from the front lines that suggest a military force pushed beyond the limits of human endurance, where hunger and isolation have led to the unthinkable. These aren't just rumors of low morale, they are specific, documented allegations of a total moral and physical collapse among troops left to fend for themselves in the harshest conditions. The situation centers on the breakdown of supply lines. Constant drone surveillance and precision strikes have made the simple act of delivering food and water a deadly gamble. As a result, numerous units have found themselves completely cut off, surviving in freezing trenches and ruined basements with no contact from their superiors and no rations for days on end. This isolation, combined with a brutal winter, has reportedly driven some soldiers to turn on their own in a desperate bid for survival. One of the most harrowing reports involves a soldier nicknamed Limpy. He was discovered by his own side in a basement near the town of Myrnahrad in the Donetsk region. The scene described by those who found him was one of pure horror. According to intercepted communications, the soldier had allegedly killed 2 of his comrades. When officers entered the basement, they found evidence that he had begun to consume the remains of the men he was supposed to be fighting alongside. The reporting officer's voice in the leaked audio was filled with a mix of shock and grim resignation, warning his superiors that if the food situation didn't improve, more men would soon follow suit. He described his fellow soldiers as walking skeletons, wasted away by starvation rations. While such incidents might be dismissed as isolated cases of mental collapse, the evidence suggests a broader pattern. Cyber specialists have obtained a collection of photographs and audio files that paint a consistent picture of this desperation. To verify these claims, the images were run through advanced AI detection software, which concluded that the photos had not been doctored or manipulated. Furthermore, medical experts and conflict surgeons who examined the visual evidence noted that the marks on the bodies were not caused by shrapnel or explosions. Instead, the wounds were consistent with the use of sharp knives, indicating intentional acts rather than the random violence of the battlefield. Other intercepted messages reveal a military culture in a state of absolute decay. In one recording, a soldier complained about the psychological toll of being forced to share a dugout with a man who had admitted to consuming human remains. In another, a commander was heard reprimanding a subordinate, not for the act itself, but for the lack of discipline, telling him he should have simply asked for food instead of resorting to the bodies of fallen enemies. The situation reached such a peak that at least one chief of staff for a motorized rifle brigade felt compelled to issue a formal, written order. This document explicitly prohibited cannibalism, alongside the use of drugs and alcohol, treating it as a disciplinary issue that was actively undermining the unit's effectiveness. Analysts suggest that the root of this horror is a catastrophic failure of logistics. In the current conflict, looking after the well-being of the rank and file has seemingly become a secondary priority. Soldiers have frequently filmed themselves pleading for help, showing off boxes of expired rations or explaining that they haven't seen a supply truck in weeks. The relentless pressure from drone strikes targeting resupply vehicles has created dead zones where nothing gets in and nothing gets out. This has left thousands of men in a state of permanent hunger, where the instinct to survive overrides every moral and military code. This breakdown represents more than just a lack of food, it is a sign of a military that has lost its connection to the humanity of its soldiers. When troops are viewed as expendable assets rather than human beings, the resulting desperation can lead to scenes that belong in a nightmare. As the conflict continues and the logistics remain broken, the question remains, how much further can a frontline collapse before there is nothing left to lead? It is a grim reminder of the true cost of a war where the supply chain is as much a target as the soldiers themselves.